Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime and it is time to brawl. Today is day number 1 of Power Play and I have a very special video that is going to help you guys so much in choosing which brawlers to play. And that is this video right here. I have poured my soul into the use rates and the win rates for every map in this first season of Power Play to give you guys the best brawlers to play so that you guys can get as many points as you possibly can. And if your account is not max, I included up to 9 brawlers, so hopefully you have at least one of the brawlers on there, even though obviously some are going to be better than others. But guys, there is an issue with this video, and that issue is that it's not flashy. I'm not showing you any fancy gameplay. I'm not showing you any fancy other things. We're just gonna be talking about Brawl, and because it's not fancy, people won't watch it. And because people won't watch it, that means YouTube will stop recommending it to other people. And this is the type of video that I have spent so much time on. And so I don't want it to go to waste, because if it does go to waste, guess what? It won't be worth it for me to keep doing this in future Power Play seasons. So I need your help, guys. So I need you guys to show me that you want this kind of video. You can share it with your friends. You can watch the entire thing. You can comment. You can like it. And if you do those things, there's a good chance I'll continue doing this in the future so that you guys can win as much Power Play as you possibly can. So this time, let's jump into it. We're starting off with Minecart Madness, the map that is going on for Power Play right now. Now, here are all of the brawlers that I'm going to say are the best for Minecart Madness. You know, you're going to see some stats. Those are the win rates above 700 trophies for those specific brawlers, and you're going to see some different colors. The colors are coordinated based off of their pick rate. Very low is red, low is orange, white is normal, high is yellow, very high is green, and 2 times, which is very, very high, is purple. That means that they have to be very, very good. Basically, the better the pick rate or the use rate, the more we can trust the win rate. So where Rosa has a 73% win rate on Minecart Madness, above 700 trophies, and she has a very high use rate, we can basically guarantee that she's a very solid brawler. Same thing with Mortis, he's very excellent. Tick as well, and honestly, if you're playing Minecart Madness and you have a team comp, those 3 brawlers would be excellent options. Now here you also notice Bull and Carl, they have a low use rate, but they actually have a very high win rate, so I did want to include them right there. Day number 2, Rockwall Brawl, solo showdown. Most likely, there's a chance it is going to be duo showdown, and that I have my showdown days flipped. But I'm pretty sure that it's solo showdown, and even if it is a duo showdown, the brawlers that you're going to pick are mostly going to say the same regardless, okay? So for starting off, we have Shelly, 55.8% win rate with a very, very high pick rate. That is excellent, and she's honestly probably the best brawler for this map. Soon after that, I actually included El Primo at 59% win rate, and then BB and Bull, they actually had a low pick rate, but they had a very consistent win rate, so I wanted to include them. The rest of the brawlers have rather high win rates, but very low use rates, and so the reason why I would pick maybe one of them is to try and counter the more common brawlers. For example, Spike would do an excellent job at countering Shelly, El Primo, BB, and Bull, and so while he might not have the highest use rate, he might actually be a decent option. Up next is Course, where we have El Primo with a 51.5% win rate, very, very high pick rate. Now, I don't actually think that's a very impressive win rate, but he's played so much. That means that a lot of the pros are going to consider him to be very solid as a player, if you have his Meteor Rush star power and you're very skilled with him. Otherwise, you might want to consider going with like BB or Terra, who are all around, they have higher win rates, just slightly less use rate. I also wanted to mention Shelly. She had one of the highest use rates or pick rates in for this map, but she only averaged at 50%. So I wanted to include her on this list, you know, to kind of honor how much the pros are actually playing her, but she might not actually be the best option. Day number 4 coming this Thursday, some assembly required in Siege. The meta for this map is very specific, okay? We've got 4 brawlers with very, very high win rates, including BB, Tick, Barley, and Penny. Honestly, if you want a super solid combo, you would go with BB, Tick, and either Barley or Bull, depending on kind of what you wanted to do. Obviously, Penny can do very well as well. If you're jumping in with randoms though, BB is insane on this map. And either BB, honestly, BB or Tick are just so good right here. They would be my go-to choice. Next, we got Scorch Stone with Duo Showdown. These stats are for Duo Showdown. Like I said, there's a chance I've swapped the Showdown days, but I'm pretty confident that this is accurate. Now remember, for Duo Showdown, the win rates are actually more average towards 40% because only the first 2 teams actually get considered as a victory, and the other 3 teams actually get counted as a loss, so that averages towards 40%. For this mode, honestly, if you have a teammate, I would go with Piper and either Crow or Leon. Those are such solid options right there. Whoever has the most skill is Piper, just go with Piper, and then, you know, Crow or Leon. I think everybody likes to play Crow or Leon. However, if you do not have those 2 legendary brawlers, Brock is a solid option with a 47% win rate. That's very impressive in Duo Showdown, and a normal use rate. Now, this Saturday, day 6, we've got Canal Grande for Bounty. And it's no surprise that top 3 are Piper, Mortis, and Tick with very, very high use rates and really solid win rates for how frequently they're used. Now you might wonder why I didn't have Tick first. It's because Piper actually had so much higher of a use rate than Tick did that I felt like it was very justified. Obviously, Tick is really great in here. He got a good solid buff recently, and he's a very solid option. Now, one thing you'll notice is Sandy with a 62.5% win rate and a high pick rate. That is the highest win rate out of all of the brawlers for this map specifically. However, he recently just got a couple of nerfs. I definitely think he's a little bit more of a risky brawler to choose, but still definitely someone that you're gonna want to consider. For day 7, we're gonna have Pinball Dreams for Brawl Ball. Now the best brawlers here, we've got El Primo, 51.1% win rate. Once again, not super impressive, but he has a very, very high pick rate. So he's definitely a brawler that you're gonna want to consider, especially if you're very skilled with El Primo and you do have his Meteor Rush star power. BB's another very solid option right here, 56% win rate, very high pick rate. Terra, also very impressive, 53.8% win rate, a solid option to choose. Sandy, once again, 61.8% win rate, which is just crazy, but I just want to be a little bit more cautious when playing Sandy. Now, there's a good chance that Ems could be a solid option on this map as well. The one thing with Ems is that when Brawl Stats actually pulled this data, this map had not been out, and Ems didn't have any data to be played on here. So we're going to wait a little bit before I decide to throw Ems around, unless I'm pretty confident this should be a solid option. Here we've got Not So Far for day number 8. This is Lone Star, and we don't have any data on any of the new Lone Star maps. And so what I did is I compared this map specifically to all the other Lone Star maps that we do have data on, and I felt like it was most similar to Hot Point. So all of these stats and these win rates and, you know, pick rates are all based off of Hot Point. They're not actually for Not So Far. So you should take this with a grain of salt. However, I think that they're pretty close to each other, and this is going to give you a solid option here. Now, Leon, he has a golden frame, which means that he had a use rate of over 6 times the normal value, which is absolutely incredible. Very solid option right here, especially because he still has a 64.9% win rate. With that high of a use rate, that is insanely good, and definitely the best brawler for Lone Star, at least I think right now. Mortis comes in a really good close second, 57.7%. Shelly actually does pretty well in Lone Star as well. If Shelly's one of your brawlers that's maxed out, you might consider playing her on Lone Star here. Piper, she had a very high, very, very high pick rate. However, it was only a 51.6% win rate. Still very solid. I think that it's going to come down more down to your own Piper skills, whether you want to actually play her on this map or not. For day 9, we have Pit Stop in Heist, and Bull takes the cake, a ridiculously high pick rate and a 57.5 win rate. Definitely the best brawler for Pit Stop if you're going in with randoms. If you're going in with teammates, your next best options are going to be BB at a 59.1% win rate, and either Barley or El Primo, both at 54% of a win rate with a very, very high pick rate. We do have some other options here as well, as you can see, but those brawlers really are the best for this map. With that said though, you might actually consider 8-Bit. He does have a very low use rate, but 61.6% win rate. That's the highest out of all the brawlers for this map. And so if you've got a skilled 8-Bit and you've got teammates that you know you can count on, like a Bull and a BB or a Bull and a Barley, he might also be a great option. Day number 10 is going to be Flying Fantasies. I believe it's going to be Solo Showdown, and these are the rates for Solo Showdown on Flying Fantasies. Now this is kind of weird, okay? You've got Shelly, Crow, and Leon, all with a high use rate. Not anyone being used a ton specifically for this map, but they don't have the highest win rates. Then you have 8-Bit, Bo, and Spike, who all have a low use rate, but all have a very high win rate. And then lastly, guys, we've got a few brawlers, Pam, Carl, Brock, all with a very low use rate and pretty solid win rates. Overall, for this map specifically, I feel a little bit safer with like 8-Bit. I think 8-Bit is probably going to be the best option. This is probably who I'm going to play, okay? Grab that extra life star power, bring 8-Bit in here, and I feel like you're golden. With that said though, above 700 trophies, you've got Crow, you've got Shelly, and you've got Leon, who are being played by far the most. Day 11 is going to be Bounty with Layer Cake. This is next Thursday, and we have Mortis with over 6 times a pick rate, which is insane, and a 52.2% win rate, which is pretty solid for that high of a pick rate. Okay, we also have Tick and Piper, who are solid second options, and honestly, those 3 brawlers would be amazing for this map. You could also do Penny instead of maybe like, you know, Mortis if you don't have a skilled Mortis player, or instead of a Piper if you really want to try doing that. And then I had to include Carl with a 66.5% win rate, but a very low use rate. The thing with Carl is that he has one of the lowest use rates on all of these maps, but he also tends to have one of the highest win rates. He's a weird brawler, and I need to do more research to figure out exactly why that is. Next up, we've got Springtrap. This map is very interesting because I noticed a lot of brawlers that are frequently played, a lot obviously, but don't have very solid win rates, okay? Like Shelly and Poco, who all have very high use rates, but don't have the best win rates in comparison to a brawler like Rosa. 65.7% win rate with a high pick rate. I mean, that's just insane. You also have Sandy, who, like I said, got some nerfs, so I don't know if I trust that stat as much. If I were to try and pick a comp for this map specifically, I would probably go with Rosa, Tara, and then most likely a Jean as the gem carrier. For day 13 is going to be Stormy Plains for duo showdown. Most likely, once again, might be solo showdown. Now this map is really funny, okay? Basically, you have 2 options. You got assassin brawlers, which is Leon, Mortis, Crow, or Daryl, and then you have thrower brawlers, which is, you know, Dynamite, Tick, and Barley. I think it's a really good idea to go with one of each of those, kind of balance out your team and make sure you have that survivability. For my personal preference, I'd probably go with Leon as our assassin, and then Dynamite or Tick, honestly, as the thrower. I think is probably the best option. You also have Shelly on there, who does pretty okay, and Barley has a higher win rate than the other throwers, but he has a lower use rate, so we can't really trust that as much. Lastly, guys, we've got Clockwork on day 14. The last day of the season is going to be in Takedown. Now, for the 2 new Takedown maps, we don't actually have the win rates or the use rates for this one specifically as I'm making this video, and so I actually am using win rates and use rates for Bulk Up, which I felt like was the most similar to Clockwork. Now, this is the one that I am the least confident with because of the changes to Takedown that have, I mean, honestly, there's been a lot of changes since the update, and so we'll see if this holds true, but there's a good chance that this might change. Regardless though, Colt, I wish I could give him a platinum tier frame because he was actually played 10 times more than any other brawler for this mode, and he boasts one of the highest win rates at 65.6%, which is just insane. Bull didn't get played nearly as much, but he was still played an insane amount, and he boasts a 65.2% win rate, which is also, it's just crazy. Those 2 brawlers are honestly the ones that I would go with. I wouldn't even bother with any other ones unless you like really want to try some niche thing. But I mean, Colt, I'm expecting my final takedown matches at the end of Power Play to be me as Colt versus a bunch of other Colts. Maybe a couple of Bulls could be thrown in there or something. I don't know. We'll see how the meta changes for this once that time is over. And those are the best brawlers to play for every single day in Power Play for this first season. Once again, you guys are gonna have to let me know what you thought about this video. I'm hoping for 10,000 likes on this video because this video took a ton of time to put together, and I would just hate for me to not be able to continue putting stuff out like this because people don't want to watch it. But I don't know. I'm sure that the people that are watching are gonna love it, but let me know. Share it with your friends, please. Anyways, guys, for now, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.